Hey, God bless you, everyone. God bless you. God bless you. Listen, I'm going to, tonight again, we have advertised that we have a special guest that is here waiting. Aren't you excited? We are so excited because we are in the series of 40 marriages that must not hold in our relationship series. I am Apostle Hellena Horsley. This is Thursday Night Live at 9. And I really hope that some of you can follow me over to Facebook or YouTube. And the reason being is because I was having some technical difficulties trying to get the Instagram into my restream tonight. So if you would do me that quick favor and go on over to YouTube or Facebook. Now I'll continue here and I might do some things to kind of just maneuver the camera on my phone so that you can also see the screen. I will do that tonight. But I do want you to say, just to say, hi, sweetie. Hi, daughter. Good to see you. I do want everybody to just be ready to get into this interview. This is going to be something because this is a testimony, okay? What a blessing. We have been dealing with 40 marriages that must not hold. And I want you to know, remember, all marriages are made in heaven. Now, whether that is the third heaven or that is the second heaven, that would be based upon who is the spiritual entity that have put and placed you two together. If it be God, that's the third heaven. If it be of the world and the world system, that would be the second heaven. Cynthia, you're okay. I'll bring you in a few minutes. You're doing just fine. All right, you're doing just fine. You can. I'm right here. I can see you, and I'll bring you in a few. Okay, so it just depends on who puts you all together. The Bible says, "What God has joined together, let no one put asunder." And one thing, hi, Yellow Beauty, God bless you. One thing I would say is, um, watch the Adjustment Bureau. That movie is a movie that is so insightful of the realm of spirit. This is because you get to see how things are manipulated behind the scenes. And so that is a highly suggested film to watch. It may have been maybe like 10 years old now, but that is a highly suggested film for you to watch so that you can understand how things happen behind the scenes. Thank God for Facebook and YouTube. Okay, I see you, Deanna. Deanna, God bless you, daughter. I see you, Tanya. You came on over to the YouTube. God bless you. So, yeah, so if you can join over, because you'll see our special guest that is here on tonight. And like I said, I will do some things with the phone so that I can show you all the screen on this way. But anyway, it's a public forum. My Facebook page is public. My YouTube page, of course, is public. But you want to go there so that you can see what we're going to have tonight. And that's only because of technical difficulties. For some reason tonight, this has been a high level warfare, but we do know that God is good and God is gracious. And so, again, 40 marriages that must not hold. And these are reasons why they have noticed that they made these mistakes. They noticed that they made these mistakes. So some of the things that we had went through was the fast food marriage. You just married based upon what you saw right quick. This is the lips, the whatever the looks were. You saw that and you wanted to get married to it. And so that was that quick marriage, the fast food marriage. We also talked about the Red Cross Society marriage, people marrying just for the simple fact that someone got pregnant in the marriage and they felt that they needed to fix it by marrying the person. So that's not a fix either, okay? So this is why you have to, last week we talked about it's important to know you. It's important to know what you think about yourself, what you know about yourself, what you definitely know about yourself, and what you like and what you don't like. So last week I was referring to the book that my apostle, who was the late apostle, Wayne Wallace, had written. And that was dealing with relationships, steering clear of the circus, staying away from the circus, steer clear from the bozo. And so staying out of the circus will cause you to, reading that book will cause you to really think about what it is about you. Because one thing that I did say last week was Apostle, he was on his third marriage. But he asked the Lord when he was in an abusive marriage, in marriage number 2, God bless you. God bless you. When he was in an abusive marriage, marriage number 2, he asked about, hey, Chris, good to see you on here. He asked, Lord, have you seen my wife? Have you seen my wife? And the Lord told him to write down what he wanted. And so he wrote everything down. And as he wrote these things down, he found his wife. And that wife happened to be our first lady, prophetess Darlene Wallace. She was Darlene Moore, but Darlene Wallace. So there that marriage was, and there we experienced that within the ministry at Deeper Revelation Ministries. And I can tell you that Apostle loved prophetess dearly. I can tell you that. And so we saw the love. And so I just want you to know that it was dedication. It was full kingdom ministry. It was a powerful ministry. And it would seem like a force to be reckoned with. And as we do know, the enemy likes to fight that. But in any case, we just know that God is good. So Apostle Wayne Wallace, I mean, he gave us a lot of nuggets that the Lord had given him. So he has several books that are out. One is Behold the Woman. The other is The Proverbs of an Apostle. And the other book that we are referring to in this series, the relationship series, and that's Stay Away from the Circus, Steering Away from the Circus and Keeping Away from Bozo. But I'll give you the full name because I just blurted it out. But anyway, I did show you the book last week. But I do want to say that this is something that you really, really want to think about because you got to know what you like. And I gave an example last week when Apostle was on a broadcast, a television show. They were asking him about a woman who had dated someone that looked like a gorilla. And he said, well, she married someone that looked like a gorilla. He said, well, that's a gorilla. She likes the gorilla. Well, that's what she liked. That's a gorilla. And they said, well, what if, he had this, he was saying, but if that's what she liked, that's what she liked. That's her gorilla. In other words, it's funny how he was saying it. But in any case, who's that? God bless you. God bless you. Oh, okay. Miss Built Different. God bless you. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube. Yeah, so Apostle was just pretty much saying you got to know what you want, and based upon what the Lord had showed him and had given him, because he went through 2 marriages, and the last one he's talking in his book that he really cried about and really sought the Lord because he said, Lord, have you seen my wife? He got tired, but the Lord brought him a beautiful woman of God, and he talked about how he just spoke with her, and he said they went to, I think, like a Denny's, and they just talked all night, just talking and eating all night, and they're just talking about the word. Just everything was about the word and spiritual things, because a prophetess Wallace loves that word. And so anyway, so to see that and to understand hey sis, good to see you sister. Yeah, so to see that and to see how that worked within that relationship, it was very beautiful. And believe me, she stayed right there, even until his passing. She was right there. I mean, right there. This woman was he got the book Behold the Woman. She was a woman that she was strong. She's like a superwoman. And I would just look at her as like, I don't know how you could do all that you do, but she did what she did, and to God be the glory. It's a blessing. But anyway, praise God, because even with her, she got married again. She became a widow, and she got married again, and she has a husband that loves her. I mean, just loves her dearly. And it's beautiful to see even that, she overcame that. Maybe I'll have her come on, maybe, because I don't think she'll want to come on here though. But if you love to hear her story, I mean, this is really a story, because it was good to talk to her to see how things had transpired later on, from being a widow and then going into her current marriage that she's in now. And it's really a blessing because Pastor Haywood is an awesome man of God, and it's extremely nice to know him and to see them both in ministry. It's still beautiful. It reminds me of how it was with Apostle Wallace, Apostle Wayne Wallace, and then now to see those two together. It's really beautiful. So God answered her prayer, and it was truly, truly awesome to see what God is doing. But you got to know what you want. I mean, and it's just, she labored hard with that marriage. And then for her, she gave us the story about her first marriage. I mean, it's just a lot. So this book, 40 Marriages That Must Not Hold, this book really entails many experiences that others have gone through. And the experiences that they have gone through are there to share with others so that they can be aware, because your goal in marriage is to have someone that you are compatible with, you can work with. It's a kingdom marriage. This is a kingdom ministry. You can work together in ministry. And, these are things you all can do together. And so, to see that and to see it transpire, to see how things happen in life, these people have told their stories, and they're giving everybody some cue points about what happened to them. And so this is like, even if you've ever been in one or you're in one now, just know this: God will give you a way of escape, even to bear some of the things that you need to bear in relationships, because it takes a while to know people. You don't know who they are. And I also shared the story last week about my mom, who was married to my dad. And we asked, "Mama, you gonna get married again?" My mom, that never even crosses her mind. But she didn't want to meet anybody's secret person. She doesn't want anybody, because people hold back who they are until you're actually with them and you see them day in and day out. And this is why, it's also good if you're courting someone, you want to know who they are throughout the day. I mean, morning, afternoon, and that could be phone calls. That could be, not that you're living together, but that's phone calls. That's meeting them on spontaneous times, least expected times, calling them least expected hours, just so you can see how they are throughout the day. And sometimes it takes a while to know that. Okay, it takes a while to know that. So you want to see how people are throughout the day. And I want to say, um, one of the most insightful things that you could ever learn is when they don't get their way. Say if you've had a heated discussion and your answer was very solid with a no. How are you treated when your answer is no? So this means you set a boundary and you didn't want your boundary crossed. How did they respond with your boundary? Did they did they argue with you first and keep arguing with you for you to change your boundary? Or did they say, okay, and it became a challenge for them? When it becomes a challenge for them, then they'll do everything that they can to move the boundary line that you have set. Okay? So you have to know your boundaries. You have to know how you have things set. You really have to know these things, because if you do not, then you will be one of those that will succumb to wrong decisions. And that's not something that you would like in your life. That's something that
my mic. I don't like the way it sounded. That's something that you don't want to have to go through, because then that means somebody is going to continue to manipulate you. They'll have that power to manipulate you, okay? And you'll see that going on for the rest of the days. So good to see you, James. Georgia's and Sanders reunion. Okay, James and Georgia Sanders reunion. God bless you. All right. And so listen, tonight we do have a special guest. And, we are in the last days. The time is short, the time is at hand. And so your mind has to be on the Lord at the same time as, if you are married, you still have to handle your home business, but you cannot let your home life keep you from serving God, meaning your prayer life, meaning reading your word, meaning being with God. No one can be your God. No one. You have to maintain your relationship with the Father. And if the Bible says, if you don't hate me more than your mother, your brother, your sisters, then you're not one of his. Okay. So you have to love God more than anybody. So no one can be your God except God. All right. So if you have to think twice about something, because someone in your life may have a disagreement, and this is something that you do on a regular, you're praying. You just want to pray to God. You will want to have your time with the Lord, and they're fighting you even for prayer. I mean, all the time, not just because it's a moment you guys had planned on doing something, but it's all the time. That's a really huge flag. But back to what I was saying, when you have your boundary set, if the person is acceptable of your boundary, they will not try to challenge you to make you move the mark. Okay? Okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others my friend. And as I talked about Apostle Wallace, she knows Apostle Wallace. He's gone on to be with the Lord. But she knew Apostle Wallace. She understands this book as well, and all the other ones too, because he was the apostle. And we were having church alliances, because he liked to have kingdom building. So we had alliances that were set. We had a Long Beach local alliances where we were involved with other churches and other ministries. And so that's what apostle is about, kingdom building. But anyway, so saying that to say I've known Miss Cynthia for quite some time. And so here we have it. We have Cynthia Cooper. So we're going to invite her in. All right. So let's bring you in. God bless you,
Hello.
Cynthia. How are you?
Hello.
Oh, all right. So for those of you who are here, I'm going to try to turn this around. Okay. If you can't, okay, here we go. I'm so sorry you have to see it this way. And I really wish I could do something different at the time, but this is where we are. So, Cynthia, give us a couple of minutes to tell us about yourself, and tell us, how long you were married, and tell us the things that you loved about the ideal of marriage.
Okay, I'm Cynthia Cooper, mother of two beautiful children. Saved, love the Lord. Love Apostle. I love what she's doing. Um, you want to know what I love about marriage, or
What did you love of the idea of marriage?
the idea of marriage was having a family united together, like church, go to church together, have just a home together, and just be loving and kind to each other and grow together. That was my desire. Like the little picket fence, the family with the little picket fence. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
it's like we have our family, we go to church together, we have family time, we have our personal time. That was my desire, and just be together as one.
I like how you said you have your family time and you have your personal time.
Yes.
I like that. Can you kind of pull that out a little bit? Why do you say personal time and then family
Because
time?
when you have your family time where you have your whole family, if you have kids, you join your kids, and when they're at that time, you need to be with just you and your spouse, where you guys go out and just talk, just love each other, just enjoy each other, really get to know each other more and more, and spend time together
Okay, that's beautiful.
and see
So
what he
that's a
likes.
good boundary.
You
Yeah.
really realize what he like and what you like.
Okay. That's
Hmm.
awesome. 'Cause a lot of people don't put that together,
Hmm.
because you said the picket fence, this is a family thing, but you stress how important it is for you to maintain that time with just you and your husband outside of the children. So did you guys
Yeah.
like do maybe would you like do once a week or once a month? How would
We
you
would do.
separate
We would try to do. We had made it to the point at starting off. Um, we had a certain day with kids. It was like a Wednesday, and then maybe a Saturday after you get off work, we would do something. That's the way it started off,
Okay.
and it
Okay.
was nice at first. At the beginning, it was really nice.
Okay. Oh, that was nice.
Hmm.
That was nice. Okay, so tell us about when you got married. What was the day that you got married, or is that a little bit?
The day I first got married, I can't even remember. I'm not gonna even try.
It's okay.
Um, we got married. First time we got married, and then we separated. Well, divorced. Both been divorced for 10 years. After that 10 years, he came back in the picture, and a lot of things that had happened in the first marriage. I thought he had changed. You had people telling you he didn't change. He's a different person. It's been 10 years, and I believed it. And at the
Okay.
time, I did see something different. He did show me something different, but it ended up being something else.
Okay. So you were married for 10 years. You
We was
got
married.
separated.
First time we was married. I'm sorry. First time we got married, we was married a couple years. Then we
Okay.
separated, and we're
Separated.
separated
Okay.
for 10 years. I hadn't even laid eyes on him that whole 10 years.
Wow.
I hadn't seen him, hadn't bumped into him, hadn't nothing. No talk to him, no hello, no nothing. And then one day on one of my birthdays, his birthday is September 11th, mine September 12th. So that particular birthday on Facebook, he said hello, happy birthday, and I ignored it. So he kept on trying to talk, and so eventually few people I was talking to them about it, and they told me, "Well, it's been 10 years. People change in 10 years," and I felt that way. I give people a chance after a certain time. I believe that people can change. I believe that God can turn everything around. I believe God because at the time I don't judge anybody, religion or whatever. But at the time when I first met him, skipping back a little bit, he was a youth minister. So I love working with children. I work with youth. So that felt made me feel like, oh, this is it.
Okay.
I feel like this is
Okay.
it. We work with you. I work with you. We can come together. And we can work this together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and after the first time we got married, it was good for maybe few months, and things start changing. You start seeing things. But before that, I saw stuff before we got married. But I was determined that, and I had people telling me different things that was going on that I didn't see. I felt like people was trying to stop me from getting married because they didn't want me married, or they just jealousy and all that. But it came out for the first marriage, everything that was being told to me was true. But I
Wow.
couldn't tell.
So let me ask the question here, because you said, okay, last week I was talking about these relationships, and if you need counseling, it should be done before the emotions get in it, right?
Right.
Before the emotions get in. So you're married to this man, and different ones begin to tell you about issues, or is this
Well,
before or during the
I had
marriage?
I had a apostle, I had bishops telling me, and guys, these were men of God telling me what they were seeing and how they felt like I should wait, and how they're seeing stuff that shouldn't be there. But I'm not seeing it, and I let them know I'm not seeing what you see. But I've learned, if someone that you know that's love God, that's a man of God, a woman of God, and they truly look out for your best interest, you need to listen. Because I
Okay.
didn't listen. So without me listening, I got myself in a bag of whole lot of mess.
Wow.
Because I wanted to be married, I wanted that family, and I wasn't listening to what nobody else was telling me that was good for me.
Okay. 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 So you were married for a couple of years. You separated, quote, divorced for 10 years.
For 10
And
years.
later on, it's your birthday time, one of the birthday
Yes.
times. So you guys are a day apart.
Yes.
That's something common too, huh? September 11th,
Yes.
September. You got something in common. It's like, woo woo, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Most
so
definitely.
I'm pretty sure you were probably head over heels with that, even in the first time when you first joined in with him in his life in
Right.
your, previous time. So
Right.
that may have sparked your interest. You were just a day apart. We got a lot to celebrate, got a lot in common, right?
Right.
So even though you had those that were telling you, the men of God, who, because men see more than
Yes,
what
it
we
is.
do. A man knows a man, and
Yes.
they know what they're looking at. And so for them to say that at the time you didn't even really, you didn't believe it. But because you are a woman of God, you also are a woman of prayer, and you also would think they could change.
Yes.
Would you
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
Okay, because
I said all that. But you have to look out. You have to learn to look out when someone's talking to you that you know that's in your best interest. I seen
Mhm.
things before we first married that I looked over.
Mm.
I had my daughter Alexis. I want to use her for example. And if you have kids, please, please. I know you want to be married. I know you want all this. Please listen to your children because they're not gonna just. I have my oldest daughter. She all in love, daddy, daddy, before I even married. My daughter Alexis, She could not get with him for no reason. And she was like, I think 11. She could not get with him. She wouldn't go out. She didn't want to go out to dinner with him. She did not want to go when we had our family time. She went because I went. And the day that I married him, my daughter looked like somebody had just took her best friend away from her. And she walked down the aisle looking like somebody took her best friend from her. And she would tell me, "Mommy, I don't want you to marry." And I'm like, "Baby, I think this will be best. We're gonna be a family, and he loves me, he loves y'all. Listen to your children, especially your children. I understand that a husband comes first, but your children, you have to listen to your children too. You have to see how your children respond. Um, he could give her anything in the world, it still didn't change her towards him. And this
Wow.
when she was 11 years old, it wouldn't change anything. And I messed up where all I was concerned about my happiness and not my daughter's happiness. My peace and not my daughter's peace. I wasn't
Wow.
concerned because my thing is you're a child. Stay in a child's place. And I believe
Mm,
that's where I went wrong at. Instead of sitting her down and talking to her and find out what is going on, what is wrong, why are you feeling this way? I didn't do that. So
mm.
I carried that for a long time because my baby was hurting and I was concerned about me being married and me being happy.
Wow.
She should have been my first priority at the moment.
You said a mouthful right
Mhm.
there because you already had children before
Yes,
you got married. And so, yeah, so you would want to pay attention to your children will have a say in it too.
exactly. And also,
Wow.
he had a son as well. His son was maybe 17 or so. But even in my children, knowing his son didn't have a good relationship with his father, he couldn't
Mm.
stand his father. And the day of the wedding, his son came up to the church to stop the wedding
Whoa.
and had said some stuff that I will not reveal right now that tried to stop the wedding till my family had to literally stand at the door and not let him in.
Wow.
It's a lot to it. It's a
Wow.
lot you have to look at. It's a lot you have to check out. And don't be quick to get married. I know they say you shouldn't date long, but don't be quick to get married. Make sure you get counseling and
Mm-hmm.
get some good counseling. Get somebody gonna counsel you that gonna counsel you. I feel like
Mm,
sometimes if you're too close to the people that's counseling you, I don't think it's a good idea.
mm-hmm.
I feel like you should go to somewhere where you know good counseling, but they gonna not be on one side. They're gonna be on both. Yeah, they come together as one. They're gonna talk to you as like give you the advice you need that you need.
So sometimes they could be biased.
Right. I couldn't think of the word. Thank you. Yes.
Uh-huh. Wow. Now that's interesting. So tell us about the good parts of the marriage. So now 10 years later, he comes
10 years
back in
later,
your life.
he
How's
bounced
what is
back.
that like?
He bounced back in my life, and he came back to my life like a brand new person, a person that I never knew. He came to totally different. And at this time, after 10 years, my daughter was one of the ones that told me, Mommy, Alexis, people change.
Mm.
He started coming around. He started doing stuff with us. We started going on outing. We started going to church together again and stuff. She was the one who said, people change, Mom. Give them a chance. And
Wow.
I had others saying the same thing. My family, like, he seems like a different person, like he changed. It's been 10 years. Give him a chance. So we dated. And then after a while, I started seeing little things again. After he proposed to me, I started seeing things that shouldn't be there. Things were said to me that shouldn't have been said. Um,
Are you
I
talking about
got
like disrespect or you
huh?
said
He started disrespecting. He started that. Um, not wanting me. You're at church too long. Um, you don't have to go to church every Sunday. Um, he wanted me to stay home and not work. So okay, I'll stay home. Then I started keeping kids so I can have income come in because I want to be able to help and be able to do this. Something
Mhm.
fall, I can pick it up. That caused a problem. Then I started seeing anger,
Mm.
and I when I saw the anger, I swept it under the seat, under the thing. Then I just swept it under the thing, and then my son, once again, my children, my son, we would go out. Him and my son would have the men time. Me and my daughter would go places. And so after a while, my son started acting different. And I
Mm.
was like, what's going on? And he was like, nothing, mom, nothing. My main thing is your children. My main thing to tell young women, make sure that you know this person. You need to know their background, where they come from. You need to check how they deal with their family, how they,
Mm.
how he treats his mother, how
Wow.
he talked to his own sisters. You know, it starts there. How you react to your sisters, how you talk to your mother.
Mhm.
Um, when they start saying, "Why do you have to go here? Why do you have to go there?" When they want you to stop, and all they want is you there every time you turn around 24/7. You can't even walk to the store without somebody saying you're doing this or somebody saying you're doing that. When you
Wow.
just walk to the store just to get something, when your life seems like they're just locking your life down, if he can't love you like God love you, or he can't love you like he's supposed to love you, then that's a sign right there. When he wants to tell you when to go and when to come home, um, if you're in church and he start telling you that's too much church, God ain't gonna take God that long. Those are signs to me that this is not okay.
Mm.
This is not okay. And when you he started talking to himself, and
Mm.
we would be in the room and we're in the living room or something, you could hear him loud talking to himself. And he comes in the house after work and don't speak. All of those are signs you have to look out for, because it's not gonna a lot of it's gonna start while you're dating. A lot of it you're not gonna see all of it. But don't ever, and I have a big thing about that, don't ever move in with a guy. Because he
Mm.
feel like once he got you there, that's it. You'll never get married. You'll never get that ring. You'll be. It's not worth it.
Mm.
It's not worth it. Keep your own. Have your own job. Have your own place, and don't even let him move in with you. Because once he get in there with you, it's nothing gonna happen. It's nothing
Wow.
gonna happen. You're not gonna get that ring. Like they say, you buy the cow and get the milk free.
Mhm.
They want his cake and his ice cream too.
Mm.
But there were signs, anger. Um, I had a situation where he had a best friend. The best friend started, I'll put it like the best friend started getting more time than me and my kids. Um,
Mm.
best friend started getting more phone time when you're sitting home with us with your family.
Okay.
Um, you mention you bring it up about that. That's an argument, because if
Mhm.
there's nothing going on, if there's nothing happening, then that shouldn't be no problem.
Mhm.
But when they start, and then they start, when they can't get to you, they start picking with your kids.
Wow. Wow.
My son, his second marriage to my son, I got called to school, called me and told me to get to school right away. My son was cutting himself, and I
Oh.
had no clue, because of
Mm.
what was going on at home that I had no clue about. My son wanted to take himself out of here, and come to find out, it was because of my husband. When I got to the school, the counselor in there, they told me, Miss Cooper, it's nothing to do with you. They said everything he's talking about is your husband. And he's telling us you did not know what was going on because he did not want to tell you because you were so happy. And he didn't want to make you unhappy. Don't let no man come in your life, your kids, any kind of way, and your kids hold it because they want their mother to be happy. I told my son,
Wow.
I don't care who it is. If anyone's doing something to you, I'm the first to know because I will never sit around, husband and nobody else, let them mistreat you, and I stay. There's no way. So my thing to young women, make sure those that's not married, those that desire to get married, make sure you check out what needs to be done. Make sure this person loves you for you, not for what you have, or not what you can do for them, or not just to get you in bed. Make sure this is pure love. Pray about it. Pray about it. And if things are going on, talk to someone that you know that's going to give you good, godly counseling. And if at the point come, you both go to counseling before your marriage counseling to make sure this is the person for you. Because the hell that I went through, I wouldn't ever want to see anyone else go through. The tricks, the games, because the second time around, we got counseling. This man sat in there and lied to my pastor about certain things until I got in counseling and they came up and I had to react to them. For number one, our first time was married, we had to separate 10 years. We needed to go get a marriage license. He told me he would take care of that. He's gonna make the appointment for the marriage license. He called and told me he made the appointment for the marriage license. Then 2 weeks later, pastor told us it's time for license. He had called my pastor and told him that we were still married. We couldn't get no more license. They would not issue any more license because we had never divorced. He sat in there and told my pastor that. So when the time came, pastor, after you tell her, no. So when we got to counseling, it came up. And I said, what do you mean? We're not divorced. Because the day of divorce, we was getting a divorce, he told me, I don't want you to do anything. I got this because I want to get rid of you. So I'll definitely take care of the divorce. So I'm like, okay. So papers came, thought they were divorce papers, signed them. Come the time for our last counseling, pastor said, I hope we got the marriage license. He had told them we don't need them because they were not going to issue any more marriage license because we were still married. Okay. We just did a new, it was a new, what is it? Apostle renewal of marriage. So long story short, when things started going haywire, my kids, he just started acting out, talking about threatening our lives and what he was going to do to us, how he was going to harm us. I decided after my son went through, I decided it's time to go. My happiness don't have nothing to do. I need to get out of here for my kids and for myself. Went down to Norwalk to get get a divorce, get the license, so I could take to the lawyer for the divorce. Got there. There were no license on file. They said, we're going to send you upstairs because if it's not down here, because of the 10 years, it's not down here, it's definitely going to be upstairs. Went upstairs, 45 minutes waiting for a license. There was no license. Come to find out, my marriage license was never submitted to the courts.
Wait a minute. Did you all hear what she just said? They never submitted at all. At all. Wow.
So he was a manipulator. He was really trying to take, and I told him, you're trying to drive me crazy. You're trying to drive me really crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
why would you lie and said that that's what going back, forgive me, that's going back to who marry you? Make sure they're on the up and up. Because the
Mm-hmm.
person that was supposed to file my license, since my husband, the man supposed to be my husband, worked in Norwalk, he talked her into letting him take him himself, which he never turned him in. So this second
Wow.
marriage was not a marriage. I'm violating myself, sleeping with this man, being with this man, and we're not married. We stood in front of all these people and lied. Stood all in front of God and lied. And there was no license to be found, and he already knew that.
Whoa.
So young women, women that's getting married, be mindful, be watchful, pray, ask God. I don't ask God, is this who you would have for me? And then number one, get godly counseling. Don't make
Wow.
the mistakes that I made. Don't I would never want anybody to go through the stuff that I went through, and this is just a small part of what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
I went
Mm-hmm.
through mentally, I went through some physically, as well as my son.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if I haven't, I hope I said something that will help somebody, that would help you look at what you're doing, look over your life, check out things that looks funny to you or not don't look right to you, things are said to you that's not okay. Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And don't ever make the mistake I made of letting I saw things before I got married this time. I saw things that I know I shouldn't have gotten married. The day of before my wedding, I knew I shouldn't have done it. But when you have people telling you, you don't spend all this money, you got all these people that bought gifts, you got all these people coming out to the church, you got all these people taking off time from work, taking off time to do this, to come see you get married. And you're gonna do that? Don't let nobody pressure you like that because I did. And the day of my wedding, my own brother, after I was dressed, walked in my room after I was dressed to tell me how beautiful I was. And my brother looked in my eyes and told me, sis, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. I will
Mm.
walk out there and tell everybody
Wow.
it's canceled. Once again, I'm hearing in my ear just the thoughts that people been saying. You're wrong if you do that. That's not okay for you to stop. Took off time. People brought all these gifts, and people wasted their time coming out, getting dressed to come to see you get married. And I looked at my brother, and tears rolled down my face and says, "I'm good." And he looked back
Mm.
and told me, "You're not, but I'm respect you as my sister."
Wow.
So make sure, make sure you check out everything. And don't get married just to get married because it's not pretty and it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have the love for each other, that you're going to grow together, you're going to love each other, you're going to enjoy each other, you're going to communicate with each other, and you're going to spend that quality time with each other and not go to bed mad or not argue. You're going to argue, but argue without fighting or putting hands on each other. Just make sure, just make sure that you're sure this is the man
Mm-hmm.
God has for you. You're sure that you're sure this is the woman God has for you. Because he'll let you know. And he'll
Mm.
also let you know, I'm not in the midst of this. This is
Wow.
your doing and not mine. So what I did was my doing and not God's. So what I have to say to you all, pray about it, trust God, and make sure this is your mate. And young women, don't go look for him. Let him find you.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, even in that, make sure that's who God have for you. Pray together before your wedding. Pray together. Get in the word together. That helps. But I did none of that because I wanted to be married. I didn't care what nobody said. I didn't even think about my own feelings, knowing you're making a mistake for the second time. This time was worse. And God had let me know. He had gave me escape, and I didn't take it.
Mm.
So be blessed. Pray about it. Trust God, and let Him do it, and not you.
Well, this was an awesome story. What do you all think? This is an awesome story. We talk about 40 marriages that must not hold. We have people in the chat saying they'll be praying for your healing, praying for your son. We have people concerned about you, praying for you, and we will continue to pray for you. This is a story. Remember, 40 marriages that must not hold. And one of the things that the Lord, the way of escape for her was there was no paper, no marriage on paper,
None.
no marriage on paper. So she was able to escape the legal process of it. But then in the spirit realm, that has to be broken as a covenant too.
Right.
That part, that spiritual covenant must be broken. And so this is why it's important. Now, this is a story. Now, I was at that second wedding. I
Yes.
know I was there. And it
Yes.
was beautiful. It was just beautiful. But I would have also been one of the ones that would have been right there saying, okay, what we doing, sis? What are we doing? We're
Yeah.
not gonna do it. Okay, we're not doing it. I would have been
Yeah.
that one.
Right. Yeah.
But
You would have.
God, to God be the glory. So her story is not something that you can just say it's just a happenstance. No, she lived through something so that other people can know. Just like the book 40 marriages that must not hold, that means that you should not have and to hold. That means run away when you see the signs, like she's telling you now. Run away. Don't do it. And so, you want to be careful when your heart is made up, when your mind is made up, and all that the inside, because she's saying the Lord, all in her inside she knew, but it was because the outside pressure, because of what other things were happening. And then also being a woman of God, people can
Mm-hmm.
change. All these things. This is why a lot of people stay in a lot of horrible marriages, and they don't have to stay, because many of them are violations. And
Yeah.
so to see how that happens, but to God be the glory. She's here. She's in her right mind. We're gonna pray for her children, and to God be the glory. So I just want to say thank you so much. You done the work of an evangelist tonight, even here, because you're telling people about stand with God, knowing what God is saying, knowing
Mm-hmm.
what He's saying to the people, knowing what they need to know, and don't live with the people. I mean, you're telling them, and it's just straight, just scripture. We're not supposed to shack up with anybody. Have
Yep.
your own. These are the things we've been saying in this 40 marriages that must not hold series. Have your own things. What do you have? So please don't be so desperate. We want to thank you tonight. I'm sure this was tough. This
Yeah.
was a lot to say, but we are going to continue to pray for you. But I do want to thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming online. And if anybody, you have a cash app where people can bless you, Sister Cynthia, I know I'm going to send you something.
I
But if
don't.
you have
I don't have.
sisters that,
I don't have cash app.
all right. So we're just gonna say good night then.
Good night.
But what we'll want to say is stay tuned for next week, next Thursday. We're going to continue with the 40 marriages that must not hold. And somebody saying you're super strong. She's very strong, sister. And she got like, you're strong. Someone saying thank you for sharing and following and allowing God to use something the enemy meant for evil, but He is getting the glory out of it. Thank you so much, woman of God. That's from Yellow Beauty. So you have a lot of people commenting, and they're just
Thank
thankful
you.
to you for
I
coming
pray.
online and sharing this.
I pray someone is listening, someone help. It helps someone. That's all I want is to help someone.
Wow, what a blessing.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you so much. So we're gonna
You're
say, oh,
welcome.
good night, everybody. I'll see you all next week. Thank you
All
again,
right.
Cynthia. We talk to y'all soon. We're gonna end the
All right.
stream. God bless you.
Love you.